What up? Zach Bradshaw along with a guy here, back with another trading journal, trying to learn how to trade. Now, honestly, I've been really slack trading over the last several weeks, maybe like a month and a half, maybe 2 months, because I've just had a lot of work to do and have been refiguring some things in my business, and it just has required a lot of time, and I have not spent the time in the charts on the daily basis. And so mostly after failing to execute trades that I saw properly, I decided just to go ahead and get out and wait for the resolution of this big nasty descending or ascending or descending triangle, or maybe it's a symmetrical triangle or a wedge if you want to call it something like that. But it looks a lot more like a descending triangle to me. And I think it's probably going to break out to the downside, that this is going to play out as a massive bull trap, and that Bitcoin is going to scare the crap out of people as it heads back uh, down towards 72, 54, 42, maybe. We'll see. Um, but I think that this may be the beginnings, or this may be an indication that for example, hyperwave theory may play out in terms of what happens with getting all the way back down to the seventh. This is doing some things that could make it like a second um, classification of a funky hyperwave under the way that they set those up. But it also looks like on a monthly scale, a massive, I guess, uh, crap. I mean, the whole thing on a monthly scale looks like a massive bull market. And obviously I could have, it would go further back if I was on something other than Coinbase here. But it's also looking like this may be the beginnings of Bitcoin's first real monthly bear market, where it's this is definitely a lower high on a monthly chart. And maybe it won't play out that way because this is also a lower low on a monthly chart. Going back to what we had down here. So it's this, I feel like, is in a large consolidation itself, or at least I can't really call this consolidation. It's dropped what's that, like 60% or something like that, from even just from this point. I guess that's more than, what am I talking about? That's like I have no math skills right now. I guess that's like a 75% drop off if we even just said from 12 to 3, from 14 or up from 20, it's even more. But it's, that's a massive pullback. So it's kind of hard to call this a consolidation unless you're like, well, we actually started down here at $100, so it's gone up, and this seems like a healthy consolidation. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think that this is going to reach its first bear market. I mean, that's just like the side I lean on. I'm not confident in that. I'd give it a 51% chance of doing that and a 49% chance of going to new all-time highs before it comes down here and testing these. I don't freaking know. But what I've been learning largely from following Crown over the last several months, is that it's most important to know when to be in and when to be out. And so in this period here, you see all these arrows, and some, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. And it wasn't that, I mean, it was pretty good. I caught a lot of dips, failed to sell when those things went back up, failed to buy other dips that were important to the first dips. And what just happened to my chart here? And obviously I had a lot of market buys as well. So the story from these arrows, right? This isn't like telling everything here. I did buy here and sell here. I did buy here and buy here. I'd actually, like I was in the middle of work, and I actually meant to have buys, like several other buys. I even said them in Crown's chat exactly where my other buys were going to be, and then failed to execute in putting those limit orders on the market. And then I come back to the charts 3 days later or something like that, and I've missed this dip that I knew was coming and needed to buy, which would have balanced out these poor buys as I was trying to buy this falling knife, which is not a good idea. But this was a very, very small position. This was a small position, and then I was supposed to have other larger positions building up, so that like that ends up becoming a throwaway and almost just a hedge against this bouncing right here and then going up, and then I could have traded some of that out. But you see, there's no market orders in here, and you see like these look like pretty good buys. I bought this dip, I bought this dip, I bought this dip in here, and I was like, I would have gotten this dip. I mean that's where my price targets were, and I would have had ones here as well, and probably could have played out of that a little bit, which I was not able to play out of these as soon as I bought them because they just kept going down. But you know, my little buy around 10,000 would have done well, and I could have gotten out for a small little percentage, a little $200 gain there. Less than that again, and then set another limit order down below, which is like pretty much like what I did here, and what works for me if I have time to pay attention to the charts. And you see that there's some other poor execution where I keep having this thing and I need to get on a new platform. But like I continually have this thing with Coinbase that my stops get skipped. Like the fact that they don't have stop market orders prevents me from getting out of positions where I wanted to get out right here and then buy $200 later. It like skips over the position, and then I'm like stuck in this position that was bought at a higher price point, and I want to be back in at this level because I think it's going to at least go back up to the level that I bought at prior. Wherever the case may be, I am obviously trying to accumulate, but because Binance just closed, I just moved all of my crap from Binance over here and got out frustrated or something like that, and also like, well, I think that this thing could break this right now, and I don't have time to pay attention to this for the next couple weeks still. And so I went ahead and got out here at 90 in the 94 areas. After this, when I had a stop loss that got skipped in here, because I did buy, I had a couple of market buys in here, and a stop loss, it got skipped over right here. Did not get out of that position to be able to buy new in here, and was just frustrated, and also was like, well, this thing could go down to 72 before I come back and look at these charts again. And so I went ahead and got out here, and obviously it's gone up and it's looking real sick. Like it has no intention whatsoever of breaking up, but it's kind of, the longer it holds, the better. Kind of the longer it stays, it's, you know, it's in a decision phase, and it could really go either way. And it just makes sense for me to have gotten that position out. And since I do have a holdable position, since I do have some coins somewhere in MetaMask and IDEX, and I have coins in places I don't even know where they are. That I have written in, you know, I have my records, but I don't look at those records, and I don't mess with those coins to, you know, let them sit. But what I have done is I've got out of all of my shit coins, essentially, off of Binance, and moved that stuff over onto Coinbase. And eventually I'm going to be moving my Bitcoin from Coinbase somewhere else once I have time to do the research, or maybe I just start using 3 commas like people tell me to. Whatever the case may be, one thing that I am intent on doing shortly, and one of the reasons that I haven't already done this is because I have like all these charts saved in Coinigy that actually have tracked my buys and sells. So you know, for example, let's look at some of these crappy trades that I did. You can see here that I lost, I don't know, 5 to 10% of my account over this choppy area, not due to bad buys and bad sells, but mostly all to execution. Mostly all to, like, I didn't have time to pay attention to the market at this point. My stop losses got skipped. I did not drop the limit orders that I had written down to put into the market if certain things happened. Did not, you know, fail to execute on those things. And a lot of being right, or knowing, or like leaning on the side of being right, but then failing to actually do the things that, you know, would help me get paid for being right on my opinion of which way the price is going to go. So you see here, I was able to, you know, I didn't do awful. Some buys in here at 10, and was able to sell. I sold the vast majority of that position, sold it right back basically for even, probably lost a little bit, and then plus there's the fees. So of course I lost some on the vast majority of this position, but I did sell some of it at higher pieces, and this is probably and this is this piece together. I will eventually get a trading view account, and then I will go through in the same way that I have these. I guess eventually I'll show them. But I have these charts on here where I have mapped my buys across time, my buys and sells, and have mapped them. And I mean, I haven't done any of it in 2019, so I need to catch them up. It's not even relevant to show right now. When I was a worse trader, when I first was recording those, when I was first drawing those out on the Coinigy charts. So those will be even worse examples. Doing that, though, helped me a lot in terms of understanding the risk management, seeing the percentages in a visual format, and help me see like, okay, this area of support and resistance. And something that I want to do to document basically all of my trades over time, because it's really helpful for me. I mean, there's a lot I learned from looking at that, but I think that you can see pretty easily, or at least I can see pretty easily, that like Bitcoin was trading sideways, and I was having some bad buys that end up selling here. Then I had some good buys that end up selling here, and there's just a bunch of crap essentially. I didn't lose anything much on this, and I was able to sell a little bit more than what I bought right here because some of that was bought below the 10,000 mark, etc. But I've been right a whole lot about where price was going to come to, and have not had good trades a whole lot. And so that's something where, again, probably mentioned this on another one of these trading journals. I need to buy Crown's course and probably like 3 other courses. Probably do Tone Vays's money management or risk management course as well. Maybe he has a couple of them, position sizing or something. They're just webinars, or not like Crown's course. So Crown's course is obviously going to be higher up on the list, but certainly when it comes to money management, risk management, position sizing, those are things that I really want to learn about, as well as hedging with what are they called? Shorts and things like options, and understanding how to play the game with derivatives in a way that makes it so I can be wrong a little bit more and still make more money, or be right a little bit less but still make more money. And that's really what I'm trying to do here. So this is just another quick trading journal, because I have felt annoyed that I haven't done any of these in a while. There really hasn't been much going on. I probably should have, though. 2 months ago, when I was like in this range, I was trading in this range, I really should have recorded some of these. And obviously there's been other orders trickling in here, but for the most part, these have been whimsical, or somewhat not unplanned, but minimal strategy included, minimal thought process included, in terms of the buys and sells within this area. Mostly just because I've been doing other things that are more important, and there's only $500 in this account. Now it's like $1,000, or I guess like $800, $900, because I moved the 500 or so that I had on Binance now over here, and am essentially with these two sitting half in and half out, because that part that I sent over from Binance was all Bitcoin, and so I sent a bunch of Bitcoin over here and had already gotten out in this 94 area, like I just said, and I got out at 10 something. Like, there's more that I got out at 10 something than at 9 something, but I definitely took a loss on this, which was annoying. I didn't take much of a loss on this, so it did not matter that much. And it was actually like, this is probably a better time to buy than to sell. So that didn't make much sense there, but it was kind of a, I don't want this thing to go down to 72 and me miss my opportunity to get out, or worse yet, 54 or 45 or 36 or 32 or lower than that. Not things that I wanted to watch happen while I was sitting in a position. And I'm still, I've only been in Bitcoin for a couple of cycles, so I'm still trying to get used to how the pullbacks work in an up market, and how the rallies work in a down market, and really start to understand the timing of, like, sometimes I step away for 2 days and the price has changed $1,000. And it's important for me to gain the experience in order to be able to feel those things. There's a lot of when I watch Crown, where he's looking at the charts and he says things that are along the lines of, this just looks sick to me, or this just looks like it's probably going to go down to me, or this just looks this way. He doesn't necessarily give good explanation, but you can tell that he's looking at the shape of the candles and the shape of the like chart patterns to a degree, and is able to, largely from experience developed through intuition from what I see, is able to kind of, he says he doesn't trade his opinion, he trades technical analysis, which I can see is true. He trades his opinion less than he trades technical analysis, but his opinion is darn good. And a lot of that, certainly he's learned, he had a great mentor and things like that, but he's also put in the hours over years or decades in order to develop that sort of intuition with where price is going, just by kind of looking at the shape of what's going on. And that's something that I'm trying to develop, especially the like, for example, right now I'm pretty sure he's going to be right. He's saying that Bitcoin is going to decide about this descending triangle this week. He's kind of been saying that since since August or something. He's been saying that it was going to happen in the second or third week of September, and the way that all of his indicators show right now, over that period of time, they've been consistently pointing to that same thing, which looks like magic to me. It's like freaking miraculous that he is able to do that. But it's something I can tell is largely born out of tons and tons of experience of looking at the charts and being present when the moves were happening, so he could tell what, how to react to them, or so that when a similar situation comes up down the road, he can tell how to react to them. So that's enough rambling on this one. I mean, I've had some more crappy trades. I have more in my account now, but it's probably took a 5 to 10% loss on my totals since my last video. Maybe less. I'm not sure about when my last video was, and I definitely had some, I bought this, sold a piece of it here, sold another piece of it here, sold another piece of it here, because this was a small buy that was just a bounce buy, and then sold most of that out right here. So there's, I've not done too bad, but I should have been making money in this area, or I should just stayed out, like Crown says. Just like, I could tell it was going to go through this range until it breaks this range. There's really no need to feel like I need to be in a position, which that's another thing that I'm thankful to Crown for helping me realize that there is this pull to be in a position when you're not in a position, and it's something that certainly learning how to short and things like that may help me. Okay, I think this is going to go down. I want to be able to play it to the downside. But there's time to be in and there's time to be out. When right now I'm I'm pretty sure this thing is going down. But when I say pretty sure, I mean I'm 51% sure. I'll definitely am making a video, putting it on the record now, that I'm think that this descending triangle is going to break down, and that we are going to scare the crap out of people and go lower. And I'm really probably more, 65-75%. But I'll also take my own opinion in trading with a grain of salt. So that's why it's okay, well, I think it's going to go up. I'm pretty sure that it's going to go up, but that means it's probably a 51% chance that it's going to go up, because I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's a really tentative, okay, I want to put this marker in the sand, say that I think this is going to go down. Here's, kind of why I think it's going to go down. Largely, just based on the way this looks. This just looks like a massively lower low than 20K. We're not really getting close to it. And if this thing goes to if this breaks like a downward triangle, it's going to be ugly. Crown puts some measured move all the way down to 69 or something like that. But if it goes that low, it's ain't gonna be much holding it up, because we did not build much support going up. We just raced to the upside. Seems like we could just race to the downside, or erase all of that upside action. Another way to say it. So that's it for this one. Obviously, you see a crappy trading journal video like this, you can troll it if you want. That'd be great. Actually, make me laugh. But that's it. I think I had some kind of outro for this, but I will eventually actually have an outro for this, so I don't really care um, to make one for this. I think I do something like say peace at the end, and so that's it. Um, Thanks for watching another one of my trading journals. Or like, hopefully you didn't, because there was no reason to watch this shit. But that's it for this one. Another trading journal on the YouTube channel, and recorded in my brain. So, peace.